Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Aliyah Bryant. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
More parishes may face water restrictions. National Security Minister outlines the scope of Jamaica-US security. And later in sports, Cavaliers suffers another stalemate in CONCACAF competition.
Thank you for joining us. Now the details. The country is being warned that more parishes could face water restrictions as the dry spell continues to strain supplies. Water Minister Matthew Samuda says more restrictions could come by the end of the month. Since August 17, water restrictions have been in effect in 7 parishes. The orders bar NWC customers from using piped water for non-essential purposes. Now, Mr. Samuda says 2 more southern parishes could soon face restrictions.
1% this morning and declining by about 1% per day. We have over 80 systems at the NWC that are seeing lower inflows than required to service the customers that they have. Yes, the prohibition orders are in the east, but it is very likely that Clarendon and Manchester will be added to the list based on what we would have seen for rainfall in terms of cumulative numbers in July. I expect that at the end of August, I will get the recommendation that sees the prohibition moving further west.
The minister says residents can help to postpone further restrictions by using water responsibly.
So you see, even with great gifts of investment that came over 2 phases, this most recent phase, $27 million, comes great responsibility, ladies and gentlemen. We are asking you, and your MP has asked you to protect the system. I am asking you to also conserve the water so that we do not over-extract or in any use more than we need to. Because we don't want, when the drought eventually reaches island-wide, that you have just gotten the water and you're just getting used to the comfort. And then the comfort is no more because the springs and the sources run dry.
Mrs. Samuda was speaking at the commissioning of Phase 2 of the Spring Gardens water supply system in St. James. The upgraded system serves 9 South St. James communities with 15,000 gallons of water daily. The project cost $21.75 million Jamaican dollars. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has provided further details on Jamaica's status of forces agreement with the United States. Dr. Chang was speaking Thursday on Beyond the Headlines.
The agreement formalizes arrangements governing the presence and activities of U.S. military personnel in Jamaica. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the status of forces agreement is separate from the wider U.S.-led counter-cartel initiative, which involves cooperation among several countries.
The State of Forces Act is a universal agreement, global agreement with American troops, purely because American troops operate globally, and they don't operate under the legal framework of Visitation Forces Act. They have, wherever they go, they have to operate separately. They are just here. They operate in Melissa. The Chinooks were here all over the island, and they have this administration insisting that we have established agreement for their forces to operate. It operates whether it covers them in any activity they do, whether it is a military intervention, as you allude to there, or you have joint training operations, as they do regularly in Jamaica. We go to Panama regularly. For years, we have been doing that. Or just training officers.
He says the agreement provides a framework for U.S. military personnel to operate in Jamaica when their involvement is agreed by the 2 countries. According to Dr. Chang, that framework can apply to activities ranging from training and disaster response to military operations, depending on the situation.
As they were here in post-Melissa, when they do a lot of work in disaster management, they need a legal framework for their troops to come in and work. Are they going to discontinue that kind of operation? And we are one of the last people to sign on because we have to examine the legislative changes required to accommodate them. And that's what the State of Forces Act is, one that is established globally, been around for years. We have been working with them for nothing new in it. All it is codifying what we're doing. The coalition against counter cartel is a different thing, and yes, it overlaps because it provides if they have to operate here.
The National Security Minister says Jamaica currently has the capacity to manage its domestic security challenges without U.S. forces conducting operations on the island. He says, however, that if circumstances were to reach an extreme level, external military assistance could become necessary.
Here's the fact. If somebody took over the whole of St. James and Trelawney, then we might have need external forces. We have demonstrated we don't need external forces for the gangs we have here. In the fact, as I said, they are looking at us as a model for smaller countries before it gets to that level.
Except this doesn't only speak to training, it speaks to joint operations, which suggests that we are inviting them to come in and operate here on Jamaican soil.
The SOFA, just like the Visitation Forces Act, which we have the established law, which affects other jurisdictions besides the Americans, the British and the Canadian, established a framework for their troops to operate in Jamaica.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
To a TVJ News follow-up, Member of Parliament for West Central St. Catherine, Dr. Christopher Tufton, has responded to frustrated residents of Spanish Town Point Hill who protested Thursday over the poor condition of the roads. Now, Dr. Tufton says he's aware of the issue and understands the frustration of residents and taxi drivers.
I empathize and fully identify with the concerns that the citizens have raised. I don't think anyone can argue with the state of the roads, the main roads in particular, and the commuting public and the taxi drivers and private citizens have had a difficult time traversing these main roads. Just to be clear, representation has been made in a significant way to the relevant agency, National Works Agency, and at the highest level for the roads to be repaired.
The MP says representations have been made for a road repair, or for road repairs rather, with a commitment to repair the second phase of John's Road.
Member of Parliament's role is to represent, but clearly we don't have the allocation. I don't have the allocation to actually fix the roads. We have gotten commitments on this part 2 for the John's Road to be repaired, and I anxiously await the start of that. The other areas, I have spoken up to the minister with responsibility, Minister Morgan, who has said that an allocation is to be made in early September to deal with some of the other sections of the main road under a patching program.